here.
Absolutely. This is very cool.
Yeah. So I want to tell our audience that we have on everyone here. My name is Patricia Zars. I am a broker associate with eXp Realty, and I've got Jonathan Dupree on here with me, who's also a broker associate with eXp. And we have both at some point or another since the beginning of 2018 rolled our brokerages into eXp Realty. And so I figured we could jump on here this morning and just kind of go over a few things. I've got several questions I want to ask you, Jonathan, as to the process and why you made the move. But why don't you take a second and kind of introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your background and, you know, when and how real estate became part of your life.
Yeah, sounds great. So I grew up in this industry. My mother owned her own brokerage for probably 30 years. She's been an agent for 45 years. My entire family, my sister is an agent here in Baton Rouge. My wife was an agent for a long time. So I grew up in the business. I said I'll never be in the real estate business, and I was the last person in my family to go into the real estate business. And then it just kind of shift happened. You know, I was a trainer and a speaker. I wrote a book called The Mega Agent Mindset, which was all about how the successful agent thinks, and was a team leader for Keller Williams for a long time, and loved the company. Just outgrew my role there and left and started my own brokerage. And this was 4 years ago, and started my own brokerage here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and we started from scratch. No name, no one knew who we were, and we grew from 0 to 120 agents in 3 years, and we were the largest independent brokerage in Louisiana, and we were the fourth largest brokerage in terms of closed business in Baton Rouge, out of about 800 companies. And I'd say about 4 months ago, I rolled our brokerage into eXp. You know, it's one of those things, you see it, you can't unsee it, and it's been because you owned your own company, it's been crazy. But it's been great. It's such a fantastic move for me. I've been able to really impact a lot of people's lives in a positive way that I never could do. I was already impacting people's lives, but never like the opportunity I have now to really impact them and pour into them.
Yeah. So, when were you very first introduced to eXp? How long was the process for you as a broker, making that decision, and what finally clicked in your head? When did it finally, become evident to you that was the move you wanted to make? Did you have, I know I had my aha moment. Did you have your aha moment?
So my pathway to eXp is probably not the typical pathway to eXp for most people. I had realized what I'm doing is not working. I mean, it's working in terms of agent count and volume and market share, but it wasn't working in terms of Jonathan having a life. And, I've got a little girl. She's 1 year old. I have a 19-year-old who's in the business with me. And it's just so excited to see him doing his thing and growing and having closings and being successful. And then I have a 15-year-old, and he's an incredible billiard player, travels all over the country playing pool. And then I have a 1-year-old little girl. And so trying to spend time with my family and travel with them was very difficult. Financially, people who, I talked to someone yesterday, they said, I'm going to start my own brokerage. I said, I'll never do it again. I just won't do it again. In your mind, you think there's all this money in it. And it's just, it's a different story. And so my pathway to eXp was really kind of strange. I had realized I wasn't going to make it. I had some of my own agents leave and go to eXp, and I was like, "Oh, you don't want to go there," and they were like, "Why?" I said, "But just because you don't want to. You don't want to do it." Well, why don't I want to do it? Well, because you don't. Yeah, but give me a valid reason of why. And it's just because you don't want to lose an agent as a then you got to go replace them. And so I was at a point where I realized we needed to make some changes. And I got on LinkedIn because I had received a message from someone about mergers and acquisitions from Realogy. And I was looking for their information, and searching for the message, I found a message from Scott Lewis. And he had messaged me about a year and a half ago. and talking about coming to eXp. And my reply back was, thanks, I'm not interested. And then he said, before you say no, and I said, I'm not interested. And then searching for this message, and actually I was pretty aggressive in my response. We kind of laugh about it today. And then in my search for this other guy's message on LinkedIn, I found the one from Scott, and I just shot him a message that said, how's your little revenue share going, buddy? And his wife Tracy called me the next day and said, Scott's on the golf course and he'd love to talk to you, and this is where we're at in revenue share. And I went, oh my gosh, what? And I just stopped for a minute. And the next day I talked to Scott, and then I talked to him the next 2 or 3 days. And then I was messaging him at 2 or 3 in the morning. Is this real? Am I missing this? Am I misunderstanding this? And the more he and I talked, and a week later, I transitioned to eXp and had them come in and help us roll our brokerage in. So my pathway was a little bit different. I wasn't expecting to end up at eXp, and I'm so thankful that I was open-minded enough to listen. But it took a lot to get me to the point to be open-minded enough to listen. And but once I was there, so my encouragement to anyone who's listening and watching this, that's, you're thinking of starting your own brokerage or you own your own brokerage, don't listen to the rumors. Instead, profit from the truth. So really get the information. Agents make emotional decisions, not logical decisions. They go to a brokerage because their friend is there and they go, oh, I like that. I like being here. Or instead of going, what's best for me and my family? So get all the information, and emotion comes into play, but then use logic to justify the transition. And that's where I had to get to a place where I was emotionally ready and it made sense. And I was open-minded enough to look and get the information and evaluate it. Anthony Robbins talks about it a lot in the book, Awaken the Giant Within. He has a whole chapter 14, devoted to how successful people evaluate opportunities. And he says, if you want to live a superior life, then learn how to make superior evaluations. And if you want to make superior evaluations, you have to be open-minded enough. And I'm thankful that I was there, and I'm at that point, and I'm thankful that Scott and Tracy were very patient with me and didn't go, this guy's a jerk, right? I'm not talking to him anymore, because they very easily could have done that if you see our chain of messages.
Right. Yeah, and I see the same thing like with us, because Lane and I were approached by Tracy back in November of 2015. And it's funny, I actually found she called us that day and she's like, just watch this video. And we were very, we just were like, thanks, Tracy, but no thanks. Yeah. He went ahead and sent us an email. I actually found it. It was November 5th, 2015. I just searched for it a couple days ago and I found it in my email. And she had sent the video, take a look at it. And to be very honest, we got the email. We did not even look. We didn't open the link. Yeah. We didn't even look at it. That's how close-minded we were. Because at the same time, there's a lot of ego that is in play when you're a broker.
That's right.
And I think it's one of the biggest reasons that you see brokers, afraid to open their mind to other opportunity, because, their brokerage is their baby, essentially,
I just rolled in a brokerage in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We're in the process of doing it in the Alabama area. And we've been talking for months. Ever since I made the transition, and it took a while for them to get to the same place and I got it. I was like, look, I get where you are mentally, because I was there. I was where you are. But at a certain point, like, you're telling me, listen what you're telling me. You're telling me what you're doing is not working. And I'm telling you, I know it's not working because I've been there, been in your shoes. And if you don't change something, then what are you going to do? What's going to happen? You're just going to stay frustrated. And so at a certain point, it's all about coming to a place of awareness, and you see the blind spots. The blind spot is like someone else sees something, but we don't see it. And if we trust them enough, we'll be open to listening. And that's where I was. I had this blind spot. I didn't know what I didn't know, and I wasn't open-minded. And I'm thankful that now I'm at a place, like when my wife saw eXp and I showed her, I was never forget, I was laying in bed and I was really nervous. And I said, what do you think about this? What? And just to have that conversation with her, when she saw it, she said right away, oh my gosh, this is an incredible plan. This is the best compensation plan I've ever seen in the real estate industry. Oh my gosh, agents would love this. She saw it right away, and she helped me see that, kind of overcome that blind spot that I had of, well, I don't want to go to eXp. Well, why? because it's EXP. Yeah, but why?
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, it was funny. I always have said, as far as my aha moment, I was sitting in my office and I was literally right across from a brand new agent, interviewing them, for the potential of them joining our brokerage, and going through all the motions and everything, that we always talked about during those interviews and those conversations. And I had my moment and I stopped. And of course I didn't say it out loud, but in my head, I suddenly realized I can't sit across from this agent and tell them anymore that we're the best option for them.
Yeah.
And it was not a fun moment as a broker,
Right.
And
sure.
It took me a minute to kind of, gain my composure inside. And I was like, I had been looking, Lane and I had been looking at the eXp model, for over a year at that point. And, I was going, with the different things that they offer, not just the tools and systems, because, any brokerage can put tools and systems in place, but the economy of scale that eXp is able to, to use to provide, really what I've seen as the best tools and resources at pretty much no cost to the agents is something most brokerages can't do.
Yeah, they can't do it. And like people go, well, we'll do a cap too in compensation. And well, a small brokerage ain't got to be able to survive on that. And it just isn't feasible. It just doesn't, unless the broker owner's plan is to personally sell real estate till they're like 70 years old.
Pay the bills.
Yeah, correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So essentially, and then you add on that the revenue share and the stock, and it's not something that anyone can match, right now, and it's not something as a brokerage, that you can put into place unless you're willing to pay the agents 150% of their commissions.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's just you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So you've been with eXp what now? Is it 4 or 5 months?
4 months.
Okay. Awesome. And I know a couple of months ago, a month and a half ago, Lane and I had the opportunity to sit down and have dinner with you and your son, Noah, in Arizona. And that was a really fun conversation. I mean, I know we had a couple hours where we sat there and we got to talk, broker to broker about, how the process had been and, the ups and downs of it, because, it's not just, I'm going to jump over and everything's going to be, rainbows and butterflies. So there's a lot that goes into it. But what I loved was the fact that as we both shared, the ups and downs of it, that even just a few months in, I mean, we, officially joined in January, so we've got just only, a few months on you, but that every single bit of it has been worth it, without a doubt. I have no regret whatsoever.
Well, when you make changes, you see who your friends are. You have people who you think you're really close with and that they really care about you. And what you realize is they really only care what kind of split you can give them, or can you help them on this deal get a little bit more because they are behind on a payment or something. And, like I saw that, and it was very hurtful, because you're talking about, we probably out of 120 agents brought 60 with us. And which is fine. It's okay. It's all good. You see the people in your world, but I built so many new relationships and friendships, and I've expanded so much faster. Like, I mean, I added 9 agents this week, just this week. And they're in North Carolina, California, Louisiana, Alabama, Baltimore, Maryland, Beaumont, Texas, Dallas, Texas. I mean, I couldn't do that on my own. I could expand in those markets, and when would I have added 7 agents in a week in my brokerage? Maybe a month. That's a good month for me, but in a week, and it's lives that I'm impacting in a positive way, and giving them what you said. Some people have these disappearing caps and these that's all like wordplay. I mean, that's great. After I recruit so many agents, you're gonna make my cap free. Well, what are you gonna do after my cap is free and I'm still recruiting agents? Oh, nothing happens after that. But it's because they're searching to try to figure out some kind of answer to the question, why shouldn't I go to eXp? Why shouldn't I do that? And it's just been such a great move for me, and I feel like a purge has kind of happened, or pruning. I'm more creative than I've been in the real estate business. I feel like I'm now in a place where I can play on a much bigger playing field. And we don't talk about this a whole lot either. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of going off your topic, but Yeah, we don't talk about this a whole lot. So, like, I ran the show at my brokerage, right? I was everything to everyone. I had a staff. I had 7 staff members, and you know, I had to motivate them all the time. I had to be pouring into them. And it's great to be somewhere where I can go to Arizona or go to Las Vegas or get on a mastermind call like we just had with some great leaders like yourself and have people pour into you. Right. Instead of you having to always be the one poured into other people. And there's a lot of times that the broker owner of a real estate company, you know, it's like that car that pulls into the gas station. And remember the old the full service gas stations. And if you just kept driving around the pump and rolled your window down and yelled at the guy to fill it up, well, he couldn't unless you stopped. And as the broker owner, you can't ever stop, and you don't have people pouring into you. You're the one that's just constantly going, putting out fires, fixing every issue, walking on eggshells because an agent is mad because they didn't get a T-shirt at the awards thing for closing 3 transactions, and it somehow got missed, or they didn't get a plaque for doing $1 million in volume in 12 months. Instead of a plaque, they got a certificate, and you got a list of people that I walked around with a list that was my at-risk agents that were like, I knew if they come in the office, love on them because they're ready to leave to the next biggest place because of one little deal. You know, if you don't put me on this, and you just get burnt out, and you're like, who's pouring into me? And I had that same conversation with this broker in Alabama where he's like, I feel like I'm in this spot. And I said, I get it. I was there, man. I totally get it. And what I love is I've got great people who pour into me and mentor me and who are doing far greater things than I've ever done. And I get to learn from them and have people really encourage and motivate me and hold me accountable. I didn't have that when I was on my own.
Yeah, the collaboration opportunities I've seen within eXp is like nothing else I've ever experienced ever. You know, and it's like they always say, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah, you know? That's right. That's right.
You know, not if for brokers, for anyone that joins, any agent, you know, the fact that we can, you know, surround ourselves very easily, you know, with open communication and back and forth, you know, information sessions with people all over the country who are, you know, telling us what they do, where they are that works and what doesn't work. And we share information. And, you know, instead of everyone you're working with, you know, on an agent capacity, instead of everyone, you know, in your office being your competitor who doesn't want to share anything with you to help you grow, it is a very, very different environment.
Yeah, well, you know, I had an agent come up to me at another company. I teach a lot of classes, and they came to the class, and then they said, why do you want to give this information away? I mean, like, I don't want to share my stuff. I want to keep it close. And I'm like, there's so much business, first of all, to go around. No one's going to take your one idea and go steal all your clients with that one idea, you know. And I'm glad I'm in an environment around and I think there are a lot of companies that share ideas and collaborate, and I think it really is the people, you know, who drive the culture. And but at the end of the day, I've never been in a place where people really they give so much and they share and they do it from a place of abundance versus a lack. You know, don't take this. Let me only give you some of what I do, because if I give it all of what I do to you, you might take it and actually use it and go get some business, and it will impact me negatively. You know, that's such a small mindset.
Right. Yeah, that mindset where for you to win, the other person has to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right.
So tell me then, you know, 4 months in, what is most exciting to you about eXp right now? Having gotten past the initial, you know, onboarding and getting set up and all that, right now, what do you feel the most excited about?
Right now, I'm most excited about the momentum shift happening. You know, I added an agent this morning at 6:30. I added agents last night. I'm rolling in a brokerage. I feel like I've navigated through moving my people over and helping them and getting them set up. And now I'm focused again on growth, on moving forward in the right direction and doing what I do best, you know, which is, I think my strength is attracting great talent and then helping them grow and go to the next level. So I'm really excited about that. I would tell you, though, honestly, I'm most excited that I get to work and watch my son, because here's this 19-year-old kid who gets his license the same day he graduates high school in May, just a few months ago. And he just had his first closing last week. And that was on a Wednesday. And on a Friday, he got his first revenue share check, which was, a little over $400. And he got some stock that he was awarded because he had his first closing. And he purchased some stock because he's in the program where he takes 5% of his commissions and buys stock at a 20% discount. And he recruited 3 or 4 agents this month. And he's got 3 more closings on the book for October, and he's 19 years old. I didn't have stock. I mean, quite honestly, I didn't have stock until I came to eXp because I didn't buy stock. I mean, I had mutual funds and things like that, but I wasn't buying stock. And now here I am, and I've got thousands of shares of stock from being a part of eXp. But I'm most excited about seeing my son at 19 and going, where's he going to be when he's 21? Where's he going to be and so I'm excited I get to work with him and bring him around to these events and expose him to really great, talented people and let him kind of find his own way and see him grow and flourish. That's what I'm most excited about eXp. And the fact that I can build a business that I can pass down to him and to my wife, to my kids, if something happens to me. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and he's doing phenomenal. It's exciting to watch him because it really does show you too what any agent could do. You know what I mean? Yeah. And any agent can jump in there and they can utilize the tools and systems, and they can quickly have that the revenue share coming in. I mean, he's only been a couple months in, and he's already not only got
And I'm not giving him anything. Like people are like, oh, well, that's your son. Well, yeah, I know, and he makes me work harder because I'm like, I can't let him beat me. But so I'm really excited about that. And what's cool about this is even playing field, right? Even playing field. eXp gave my son the same opportunity they gave me, that they gave everyone else. And he took it and he's running with it. Yeah. And so he is eliminating excuses for me or for other people. He had an agent, one of the top, I was sharing this earlier, 250 RE/MAX agents in the state of Texas just transitioned over, and they drove 4 hours in to come meet with him at a coffee shop. And I asked this question. I said, look, I got to ask you this. Why'd you drive in for this meeting? And she said, I really need to meet your son Noah, and I'm just fascinated. And he reached out to her on Facebook, and he just got an agent in Dallas, Texas. He reached out to him on Instagram, and he just got he's not afraid to reach out to these big time producers. And we had one meeting, and I walked out and I said, man, Noah, that agent was so sharp. How did you find him? How'd you connect with him? He said, I picked up their card at a Mexican restaurant. Oh, okay. So this really, we overcomplicate it. And then here comes a 19-year-old kid who goes, I'm just going to call everyone. I'm going to talk to everybody, and I'm okay with objections, and I'm not going to worry about it. He takes away the excuses. But the true takeaway someone should take from that is that eXp gave him the same opportunity that they gave any other agent. And so if you take advantage of the opportunity, then you can reap the rewards that the opportunity gives you. If you don't, if you have the mindset, well, I'm not going to talk to anybody. Nobody's joining I don't have any clients. No, the real estate market is slow. I just had someone post like, does anyone else have the no offer Monday happening? And I'm like, what are you talking about? My 19-year-old kid just got an offer.
Right.
And so it's all a mindset thing. And that's what I'm most excited about eXp is working with him and seeing that anybody can take this opportunity and go be successful and run with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I talk about that too. I talk about that level playing field, that everyone coming into the company is put on a level playing field. And I honestly, as a broker, and I think that is another thing that might make some brokers a little upset, is that they feel like they've worked hard to get to where they are, to be in the position to grow in the capacity they can by bringing on agents and by making income from what the agents are doing. And now that any agent coming into eXp has that exact same opportunity, I think it's a hard thing for some brokers to swallow, to be honest. And if you get past it and when Lane and I joined, we finally had to go, okay, I have to check my ego at the door. And I have to understand that not only is this a better opportunity for the agents with us, but also for us, because I can then spend my time on, like you said, the things that actually are going to help and the things that are important. I can spend so much more time now on agent development and helping the agents grow, as opposed to sitting around, putting out fires in the office, or, making sure the coffee is stocked, or, making sure that, that we've, our tools and our systems, and what new CRM should we use, and what new, what do I need to implement within the company. Having this incredible platform that eXp provides, we can really, really focus on what truly matters, which is helping the agents grow the real estate business. And, if they want it to be part of their business, help them grow, earning the revenue share for the, residual income.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just change scares people, and I see some of these companies that want to. If I were doing like if I were back as a team leader and I were picking off agents somewhere else, they'd be giving me high fives, right? Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so proud of you. But when it flip flops, they're like, oh, you don't want to go there. It's a horrible place. It's this and that doesn't really happen. And so it's just funny to see. And then as a broker, I mean, I did it. I did it. I was like, don't go to eXp when an agent would tell me they were going to eXp. Well, why? Well, you just don't. I mean, they're probably not going to pay you. You got to direct deposit your check. You know how long that's going to take? Man. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, we get paid by direct deposit and it's so fast. You had to know it had to close in on Wednesday. The money was in the bank account Thursday morning, before 8:30 a.m. I
had a situation with a check a week or so ago, right before the Labor Day holiday, and check got cut wrong by the title company. They didn't want to do a wire. And I was like, oh no, I've never dealt with this with eXp. How's this going to work? And It was incredible, their response. I logged into eXp World, talked to somebody in the transaction department. They said, hey, upload a copy of the physical check to SkySlope. And they had the money wired to my account the next morning.
Yeah.
5:30 in the afternoon, our time. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And see, Louisiana, in Louisiana, you can't be paid at the closing table like you guys can in Texas. And so we were all like, oh my God, it's going to take forever to get a check. You don't want to go there. I mean, who wants to be a cartoon character? You want to be a cartoon character and go. And now, I'm like, I teach a class on Sunday night and there's 250 agents in there. Yes. And I get it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I sit and talk to agents all the time. We have real conversations. And but it's all out of fear. That's what it is. It's out of fear, the fear of loss. As you own a company and you're trying to protect what you built, and you're afraid of losing those agents, and then you got to go replace them. Here's the interesting thing too, for someone who maybe owns their own brokerage that's listening. I don't even care if an agent leaves me now. Like before, it's like, oh my gosh, and now I'm like, I don't know why they want to do that, but okay, whatever. I'm gonna support you. I got 10 more people coming on board this month, and I'm looking for the ones who see it and want an opportunity and want to go build something better for their family. My mission statement is to master my life, my relationships, and my career to such a degree that I can't help but to empower those around me and attract those who seek the same. And as long as I'm empowering those people around me and attracting those who seek the same, the ones who aren't in alignment with that, I'm okay with it. Where before it's like, oh my gosh, I got to figure out how to replace this person fast because they contributed company dollar this month. And what are we going to do next month? And it's going to take 90 days if I get an agent over, and I'm going to have to, it's like all those thoughts that go through your head. And now it's, you don't, it doesn't even faze you. It's like, it's not even, it's so different. I don't know how to describe it, but I would tell you the biggest takeaway for me from eXp has been so many people pouring into me. And it's not fun being the Lone Ranger. It's just not. It's not fun being the Lone Ranger, and it's not fun being the person who has to listen to everybody's problems, and they come to you and they dump on you, and then your day's full of, hey, do you have 2 seconds? Hey, do you have 2 seconds? Hey, do you have 2 seconds? And none of those 2 seconds are like, I just want to come in and say you're awesome. Thanks for being you and doing all that you do for me. It's always the opposite. It's like, hey, do you have 2 seconds? And then they come in and they have a sheet of paper like this, and you know what's coming, and they're like, I just want to tell you, I thank you so much. You've helped me totally go from nothing to a rock star in real estate, and I have more money in the bank account than I've ever had now. And so I just want to let you know I'm changing companies, though, because and you're like, whoa, oh, okay, just now. Thanks for telling me this right before lunch, or the problem that they're having, or the issues that they're having, or I literally had someone. Let me check this out. I had somebody come into my office and say, can I sit with you for a second? And I said, yeah, tell me what it's about so I can be prepared for our meeting. Well, I just got a list of things of, what I really don't like about how you're running things. Oh, okay. Sure. Come on in and tell me all the reasons why you don't like what I'm doing. And, yeah, sure. That'll be great conversation. And after about 30 minutes, I just stopped and said, look, I'm not going to listen to this anymore. But that's what your day's filled up. You guys that are agents are watching, you might not get the conversation that I'm having right now. But if you own a company, you will. I mean, that's what it's full of. And now it's like calls from agents who are like, I'm so excited. I had my first closing, and I earned some stock, and I just got my first revenue share. My sister did like $7 million in real estate last month. She got $1,000 in revenue share. She's more excited about the revenue share than the real estate because she saw it. My mom had her first revenue share check, and she was like, "Oh my God, this is awesome! I got a list of people I'm about to call." Because she wasn't even focused on agent attraction, and like that's what my calls are now from people. It's a guy in California. Hey, can I call you? Do you have a few minutes to talk with me today? Because I'm ready. I've got some great agents, and I'm ready to build this thing. Like that's the kind of calls I'm having now, and I love it.
Right. Yeah. It's a total shift. And it's funny. Lane and I talk all the time, like, just the change in quality of life over the last, since January, and the amount of stress that has been relieved. And, that's obviously on us. We were able to cut quite a bit of overhead. I know you had quite a bit of overhead too. I've heard your numbers. The eXp's, been able to help you cut by not having to have the bricks and mortar. And, even with us, we've cut a whole bunch of lead generating costs out because of the ability to use KV Core and different things like that, we've cut quite a bit of our expenses out, and we can, really, really focus on, applying what we need to in the areas we need to grow our business and to grow, the agents under us. And, like you said, we're 6 different states. We've got agents, in 6 different states already, and 7 different markets in Texas, and so it is a very different thing. But yeah, the agents are coming to us with the hey, I had this issue, but I went in to eXp World and they took care of it, and everything's good to go, and they don't need anything. It's a very, very different thing. And so I think on the agent level, a lot of agents are concerned they don't know where they're going to get their support from or things like that without the person sitting behind the desk at the office, or hopefully they can even find someone at an office to help them.
Well, it's funny you said that, because I actually moved out of my office because I was tired we needed room for growth, but the real reason was, which I couldn't say, was, they were just coming nonstop into the office. And so I was not in the office,
Yeah.
And so that's a great point.
With a lot of brokers and managers. I mean, there may be one person there to help, with certain questions, and you're lucky if they're actually there.
Yeah. That's right. And the support has been huge. That's been my There's not a time where I haven't been able to get an answer or go into the world and get help, or an agent hasn't been able to get help. What I've discovered is this: when an agent doesn't plug in, that's right. The difference.
Right.
And if they choose not to plug in and engage, and that's at any company, in their mind, they go, the grass is greener on the other side. And then they go to the other side and realize, I still have to cut the grass, right? At a certain level, you're responsible for your success or lack of success, your results or lack of results that show up in your life. You're ultimately responsible for that, right? It'd be easy for me to go, well, my company was struggling because I had people that couldn't recruit, or I had staff people that couldn't do this, or I had the agents that couldn't sell, or I had a market that, I could point fingers at all kind of stuff. Ultimately, I was at the place where I said I could have succeeded and been there, done that. But the reality was, is this the pathway I want, or is there a better pathway that I can plug into and go and grow and really step into my potential, step into what I'm capable of doing? And then as an agent, it's giving them that same opportunity to grow and to flourish at a high level and succeed at a high level. And we just couldn't do it on our own. But when that agent takes responsibility for their success and they plug in and they go into the cloud and they start attending classes and they go to, people are always like, it's cloud based. I mean, we do things in real life too, right? I talked to an agent and they were like, well, I just don't like the cloud. I'm like, well, then don't go into the cloud. But I mean, if you want great classes and you want to connect and collaborate, do you ever attend any webinars? Oh yeah, all the time. Well, what is that? What is the difference? And
I don't like going into the cloud, but I'll spend 3 hours on Facebook every day, right?
Yeah, exactly. You sell houses on Facebook? Oh yeah, well, you should stop. I mean, you don't want to do anything in the cloud on the internet. I mean, that's crazy that you don't want to do that. Have you come to any of our lunch and learns? Well, no. Have you been to any of our happy hours that we've had, our mixers? Have you come to any of our local trainings where we're face to face? Well, no. Well, then don't say we don't have community. Instead, say, I choose not to plug in. I choose not to be engaged. You can have that conversation with me, but you can't have the conversation with me. We don't ever do anything. You don't connect with real people. You don't build community. You can't have that conversation. It's not okay. The one that you need to have is, I choose not to engage and participate. And that's what happens when agents get disconnected. And that's at any company,
right.
Not just eXp.
Right, absolutely. So agents that you had make the move over with you, who you had maybe spent some time with, at your own brokerage before, how have you seen the changes in them, like their production, their motivation, things like that? Because I know on our end, I've seen quite a few agents that, had been with our brokerage before who've made the move, and now simply by, having the additional tools and systems, or by having a little of that, extra money coming in every month from the revenue share, their mindset has changed completely, and they're not operating from commission breath every time they talk with a client, and their production numbers have gone up.
Yeah, I have what I have seen is this. I've seen agents increase their production dramatically, make more money in less time. Right. I've seen eXp attract the agent here that doesn't need a lot of hand holding, that wants to go grow a business, is entrepreneurial minded. I've seen, my sister, I don't think she's ever done 7 million in a month, but she did last month. Now, I'm not going to just go, well, eXp gave her that platform to do it, because she was already a successful agent. But I think it just gave her the platform, right, to operate at a higher level and to do more. And then check this out. So her buyer agent just recruited a guy who's going to be an incredible agent, who's not going to be on the team. But in a real estate team, is there an opportunity for a buyer agent that's just as great as the opportunity for the rainmaker? Right. And now here's a buyer agent who went out and recruited an agent, and that agent joined, and she's now going to start earning revenue share on someone who's not even on the real estate team. I mean, that's what I've seen happen. It's opened up those kind of doors for agents, and it's given me the ability to operate. Like, I hope this comes across the right way. It's given me the ability to operate without walking on eggshells, because I had a couple agents that were like, well, you're not putting people under me. Well, newsflash, that ain't my job. My job isn't to go, my job's to help you, is to help you do this. But if you think I'm going to build everything for you and I'm going to be the one that's going to do the work for you, that's I'm not operating from that place anymore. So it's given me a freedom where I can operate on a high level and not operate from a fear of loss anymore. Right. Where I if I were being vulnerable, I'd say I operated from a fear of loss every day. I'd go to bed and I'd tell my wife, I hope someone doesn't leave this month. I hope that we have a good month. I hope that this month we have some people roll off cap. Like that conversation. It's shifted. It's changed, and I don't operate from that place anymore. And I'm really excited that I just helped a good friend of mine make the same transition, and he's in that place right now mentally. He lost 2 agents in a week, and he goes, oh my gosh. Well, when you got 15 or 20 agents and you lose 2 agents, that's a big deal, especially if they're producing, because if you have 15 or 20 agents, you probably only have 5 or 6 producing, if that much, like producing on a consistent level. So when you lose one of them, it hurts. So I'm just excited that I'm able to help him experience the same thing I experienced and make that transition and stop operating from a fear of loss, which most broker owners aren't going to tell you that they operate from that place, but they do.
Right.
I mean, as independent real estate brokerages, it's just tough to survive, and that's where they operate from on a daily basis. If they were going to be honest with themselves, and if they could put their ego in their back pocket and really look at eXp, they would begin to have a perceptual transformation where they could see themselves as they're fully capable of becoming and not as they currently are. And when you make that shift, man, great things happen. It's just been fun to dream again and to think big again. Not that I'm not saying I didn't think big when I had my own company or that, I didn't dream, but it's different. It's like I've been given this opportunity and I'm going, man, I'm going to take full advantage of it. And I don't care who sees it or doesn't see it. I'm just looking for the ones that raise their hand and go, I want to build something special. And then I began to see myself as I was really capable of becoming and operate at a high level and be on this totally different playing field. And I'm having a conversation the other day with Brad Anderson, who's our director of education, who was a big time guy at Zillow and ran the education department at Zillow and now is at eXp. And I'm going, how am I even having this conversation with this guy right now? And he's sharing things with me and talking with me. And he said, man, I just thought you should know you have the most attended class in all of eXp, right behind our Friday leadership meeting. And we're trying to figure out how so many people are coming in. And yet 4 months ago, if you had told me I said eXp, I'd be like, you're crazy. No, I'm not. And it's just, but if a agent or a broker owner could literally put their ego in their back pocket for a little bit and go, let me evaluate this opportunity, right, and put my business cap on and really evaluate it. I don't think they would say it doesn't make sense. They might say it's not a fit for me, right? But if it's not a fit for them, it's probably because they just love selling real estate and they're like my grandmother and they're going to sell real estate up until the last 3 weeks before they pass away. And that's what she did. She literally sold real estate all the way up until the last 3 weeks of her life. And she loves selling real estate. And my mom is 69 years old. She loves selling real estate. She's going to sell real estate for, I don't. I want to figure out, and then you might go, that's crazy. I've always tried to figure out how to sell a lot of real estate through other people and create a lifestyle where I can spend time with my kids and my family and my wife. I'm taking my son to a big pool tournament next week in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. I don't have to figure out how to do that and how to like in my mind, okay, how am I going to be gone for 3 days? Next week, my wife's going to spend 3 days with her sister and I'm going to be with my little baby girl and I don't have to figure out what am I going to do during the day and what's going to happen here or there. And, I'm going to spend 3 days in Texas to help a couple of big agents transition. And I'm going with my son and we don't have to try to figure out how to make that work. And, so it's just a different process, headed from there to Alabama to spend 3 days in Alabama and help a brokerage roll in. And I'm not trying to figure out how can I be gone for this many days, where before it was like, let's try to take a 1 day quick trip and go somewhere and get back before anyone knows we're gone. And then while we were gone, we're on the phone the whole time because it's just nonstop. You still got to put out the fires and handle everything and deal with everything. And so it's just been a different perspective for me, and I love it. And I'm just excited about where the future is for me, being a part of eXp.
Yeah. So would you say it's safe to say, and it's a funny thing because I know when we do, like our lunch and learns and things like that, and one of the things like, that Pat Hayes, Pat was one of our absolute top agents at our brokerage, he got introduced to eXp about the same time we did, and he made the move when we didn't.
I can't believe he left y'all.
Well, we stayed plugged in a little bit to what was going on, but he's been wildly successful, over. I guess he's at, he probably knows the exact amount of days he's been with eXp, but he says 34 months. But, watching his growth and everything has been like, honestly, very, very exciting for me, but he always says, eXp has changed my life. And, I never hear any other agents talk about, the brokerage that they're at or a brokerage having changed their life.
Yeah, it's I love Pat and I'm modeling my business really after Pat and following him, and he's been an encouragement to me and to my son Noah and and to so many other people. And here's the thing. Here's what agents, they don't talk about. This company changed my life. What agents focus on, like a lot of agents, they're either focused on, I got a lot of business going on. This is how many homes I sold this month. This is how much volume I did. Yet at the end of the day, why are you in business? Like really, at the end of the day, what's the point of being in business?
Well, for most people, it's to have enough money to do what they want to do, yet they end up sacrificing having the time to do it by having to work so hard.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, would it be fair to say that the goal of being in business is to earn a profit?
Yes.
And yet agents focus on the wrong things. This is how much volume I did. I had a big agent who I coach and I used to coach, and he had like 20 buyer agents, and they were all over the country, and he did so much volume. And yet I never forget the time he drove in and said, "I'm going broke. I'm going broke. I'm not profitable." But it doesn't matter how much volume you're doing or how many agents you have. I had a huge company, a great company. Great company, great culture, great people, great agents. But we weren't profitable, and we were trying to figure out how to survive. And then agents have have conversations that let you really dive into the mindset of some of the agents. So I talked to an agent the other day, and they're at a company and they pay a 7% royalty on every single transaction. And I said, "You're paying?" And she said, "Yeah, but y'all have after you cap, you have a $250 transaction fee." I said, "Yeah, but you're paying a 7% transaction fee. You can call it a transaction fee, a royalty fee, a franchise fee. I don't care, but you're paying it on every single transaction." And her response was, "Yeah, but they take that off of the top before I ever see it." Well, that doesn't matter. That's not logical. What you just said is not logical. Like if we're really are we trying to have a real conversation, or just say, I like being here and I want to give them 7% of every transaction on top of my split. Just say that. That's okay.
Right.
But it's when an agent can really go, oh my gosh, I get it now. Like, stop tripping over the dimes to get to the dollars and see. It's not so much, I talk to some agents and they go, well, I'm gonna do a transaction fee only. And they're focused on just that. They're like so small minded, focused on this one area instead of seeing the big picture. And it's not so much what you pay your brokerage; it's what your brokerage paying you.
Right.
What are the avenues of wealth that they're giving you to go create? Well, most brokers are like this. They walk you over to the window and they put their arm around you and they go, "Look out that window. You see that big hill? You keep working hard. If you keep working hard, one day on that big hill, there's going to be a great big house on that hill, and it's going to be mine. So keep working hard." Right? That's the model most agents are at. And when they can realize I can go build my own business and create my own future, and it can be as big as I want. And this company doesn't care if I'm a $20 million mega agent producer or a 19-year-old kid who just got out of high school and got my real estate license. Same opportunity is open to you. Doesn't discriminate. Doesn't matter if you're male or female, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, old, young. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And it's an incredible opportunity, and people should be running to take advantage of it. But we all know, Jim Rohn calls it a mystery of the universe. He says, I go on stage and speak to thousands of people and say, I read this book and it made me a millionaire, and 3 people run out and buy the book. I don't try to figure it out. I've stopped trying to figure it out. So my job is to just simply attract talent, look for people who are looking for an opportunity, and then get in dialogue with them and share with them, and then help them grow their business. That's it. It's sifting and sorting. And I'll close with this thought. And you might have another question, so I'm not trying to kick you off. But imagine that, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but imagine that there are some ships, and I'm not a good artist, so. I don't even know if you'll be able to see this or if it'll be upside down, but there I am on the beach, and there are 3 ships, and that line is the beach. And my job is to help those ships get to shore. And I get to split half of the loot on the ship when it gets to shore. And the first ship, the ship way back here in the back, that ship is carrying gold. This middle ship is carrying silver, and this ship right here, it's carrying nothing. It's empty. Now I get to split half of the loot when they get to shore. So what ship do you think I'm going to spend my time helping get to shore?
I would assume the one with the gold.
Yeah, the one with the gold, the one with the silver, both of those. I might help both of them. But who do most people spend their time helping?
The closest one.
Yeah, the empty ships. You know why? Because they're all around. They're close to shore. They're easy to get to shore. But half of nothing is still nothing. So they're spending their time with the people who are like, help me build this, do this for me. And like, you look, even, I'm not just talking about EXP, I'm talking about in general. And so you have all these people, and they're trying, and they're trying to help people who, once they help them, they realize really nothing's come from this. You invest all your time. Think about buyers. How many agents do you see working with buyers who can't buy a home? They're not ready, willing, and able. They have issues. They have financial struggles, whatever it is, and they can't buy a home. Yet they're out showing them 23 homes on the weekend because in their mind it justifies that they're doing something to grow their business. And they're not. They're wasting their time, and they're wasting these people's time. And so they need to just keep them in a pipeline and go find someone who's ready, willing, and able, and spend their bulk of their time working with them. So I'm looking for the gold and silver ships. The empty ships, if they don't want to join, that's great, but they're not getting my time until they become a silver or gold ship. I'm not saying they're not getting my time until they can give me something. I'm saying they're not getting my time until they show me they want to be a leader and that they take responsibility for their success, and they're willing to engage and give the same level of commitment to me that I'm willing to give to them to help them grow. So I'm looking for those people who are saying, I'm a leader, help me, pour into me, get out of my way and let me go build. When I need you, be there for me. And they're a little bit harder to find. You got to spend a little bit more time with them. There's a longer process with them. But when they get to shore, they're gold ships and silver ships. And that's who I'm focusing, pouring into, and spending my time and sifting and sorting. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's one thing I always, I tell the agents, I'm like, I only ask one thing in return. If I'm going to spend my time and energy and resources, whatever it is, helping you, and my only thing is that you are as committed to your success as I am. That's it.
Yeah.
And if you are, I am at your disposal,
Mm-hmm. Well, you can believe in people, and I'm a big proponent of believing in people, and probably to a weakness, my wife would say. But sometimes they need to borrow the belief that you have in them before they can believe in themselves. And you can lead them to the water, but you can't make them drink. And so I've discovered that, for me, it's I can't help people dream. I can only inspire them to dream or see the dream. And also, I've discovered sometimes you just have to accept people for being where they are and move on. And so in my mind, like, that's that empty ship analogy. I will accept someone for where they are and move on. Okay, you want to stay frustrated. You say this isn't working, what you're currently doing, but you're not willing to make a change. And the reason you're not willing to make a change is because your company gives you free signs or a lockbox, or because your best friend is here, whatever it is, I'm going to move on. I have to accept that you're where you are, and I'm okay with it. And obviously you're okay with it. Doesn't impact me. It's only going to impact you and your family. So I don't know. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. It is an exciting spot to be in right now. I'm super excited.
Y'all are crushing it. You're doing so awesome. I follow you and keep up.
It's exciting. And I thank you for your classes on Sundays and for, your willingness to share so much of your information, not just on Sunday, but all the time, and it's been great to, have the ability for not only ourselves, but for any agents with us to plug into, what you're offering. And, just, 3 months ago, or actually 2 months ago, I didn't know you at all,
Yeah.
I would have had no way of, connecting with you and, learning from you, learning with you, growing together, we all of a sudden get those introductions, and, we get to surround ourselves in whatever capacity that is. We've actually met in person and been able to have, get conversations in person and, share information, but yet every single week we're also together in the eXp world. And we talk, and, it is a very different opportunity for growth, not just professionally and, not just financially, which all that is there, but personally, it really, really just expands your mindset on being able to, be more open to all the growth opportunities that are around you.
That's right. It's just it's an amazing time, amazing people, and a incredible opportunity. And it's really, I've made so many great new friends in the last 4 months. It's just been awesome. It really has been a great experience. And I've had people help me. I've had people who have no interest at all or no incentive. They're not in my revenue share organization. And yet they've helped me have conversations with people. And I've returned that favor and done it back, and it's that feeling that you're a part of a family of agents who want to help each other and serve each other. And that comes from only one thing: the people at the very top of the organization, the leaders in the company, who come from a place or a posture of abundance and plenty, from the executive leadership team at eXp, first class people. I mean, just like, I can't even tell you, I never talked to Gary Keller, right. But I've had conversations with the head people at eXp. Right. He never reached out to me. The only time I had Mark Willis reach out to me was when I left to start my own brokerage. And, so it's like, you have this culture of people who want to serve and build and pour into you. And then from like, Scott and Tracy Lewis, they've poured into me so much, and they didn't know me.
Right.
They didn't know me. It wasn't like me and Scott and Tracy weren't great friends. And I'm like, hey, tell me how your eXp thing is going. He sent me a message and I responded aggressively. You don't know nothing about me. I mean, if you read the message, and that was just my defense going, I'm successful. Most brokers, most people who own companies, they want to feel significant. How are you saying I should come into your company? I'm success. That's what I was really saying was I'm successful. Mm-hmm. Recognize what I've done. Recognize the accomplishments I've done. Agents always want to be patted on the back, but so do the people that build brokerages, because they poured hard sweat equity into building something and just want to be recognized for their successes. And here I built this great relationship with Scott and with his wife Tracy, and man, they've just poured into me, and they've introduced me to some people who've poured into me, and I just didn't have that, and I needed it. Like I went through 2 months of just crap transitioning. People in the real estate world saying I'd left the real estate world, and I'm so excited that they're now seeing all these people all over the country join. And I was at an event yesterday or Monday, and a mortgage guy was there, and he said, man, I've been following you on Facebook, and it's like it seems like you have a bigger company now than you did before. Like they get more. I keep seeing all your posts, and I just patted him on the back, and I said, yeah, I know, man. It was funny that I left the industry, huh? That was a pretty funny thing. So it's like I needed that. I needed people pouring into me at that time in my life. And that's what I love about eXp. It's just been a phenomenal opportunity for me.
Yeah. No, I agree. I have personally gotten to shake hands and have conversations in person with, the top people in the company, Glenn Sanford, Jason Gessing, our COO, Mary Francis, and other board, members. It's been incredible, the transparency, but also the, accessibility of, the top people in the company. And I'm very, very excited where things are headed. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, look, thank you for doing this. This is pretty cool.
Yes, no, thank you for your time. And I will see you Sunday night in eXp World. And then I look forward to seeing you next month in eXpCon over there in New Orleans.
I'm ready. I'll be there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good day.
You too. Bye.